Hello everybody, and just here and welcome back to Madoka Magica, episode 9. I don't know what's going to happen. Yet again, I'm finding myself at a loss. The previous episode ended with Sayaka turning into a witch, and pretty much the entirety of the previous episode was Sayaka's downfall. We were focusing basically entirely on that, on everything that happened to Sayaka so far, and on those additional events that happened to her during the course of that episode, like, for example, meeting those two guys on the train, which made her question, is this world even worth fighting for? Right? Sayaka has a very strong sense of good and evil, of justice, I guess you could say, because she wanted to be, maybe not, I guess she kinda was excited to become that superhero, to fight witches, to be able to save the world, and perhaps even to look better in the eyes of Kyosuke due to that. And she kind of that was the only thing she had left after she decided to not pursue Kyosuke because she thought of herself as a mindless, heartless zombie, which isn't an entirely incorrect description of their state, but I would argue that nothing really changed besides the location of their soul. And even that was ripped from her sense of justice, because hey, yo, I'm fighting for this world and I thought I'm gonna be doing good, but fighting for this world means also fighting for the scumbags on the train. So should I really be doing that? Is there justice in fighting for them, or would there be more justice in letting them die? But I can't think of letting them die because I'm a hero of justice, so those thoughts make me inhuman, and essentially everything spiraled out of control. Wait. Right, yeah. Someone told me in the comments to the previous episode, previous video, that the way they take the fact that their soul has been ripped away from their body is much more significant in like Japanese and in general Asian cultures and religions, where soul and the body aren't really separate; they are one and the same. Meanwhile, in our Western cultures, the soul is usually seen as some sort of a spirit that inhabits a body. It's the true us, and it's only piloting the flesh golem that is our mortal body on this earth. So in the West, we don't really have as much of an issue with, oh yeah, my soul was taken out and placed somewhere else, so nothing really changes except the location of my soul. Meanwhile, in Japanese culture and in other Asian cultures, I think it's a much more significant thing, much more evil, and much more going completely against nature, against the laws of the world, you could say. So a much more significant event. And yeah, the previous episode was essentially just Sayaka's downfall, but we did get a couple of bits of information that are also very important. Kyuubey also has multiple bodies and can switch between them no issue. I know it doesn't look like it, but I swear it's coffee. At least in like 1/3 coffee. Yeah, Kyuubey can also control multiple bodies and switch between them at will, which makes me wonder if he's using a similar technology, where his soul is also somewhere in some reliquary, or however you pronounce it, and he's just controlling the bodies as his vessels. We also know about Kyuubey's name. Kyuubey, incubator. Incubator for witches, for magical girls. He is swallowing the grief seeds and perhaps incubating witches, or using those grief seeds as a material for creating soul gems. Maybe. Because as we saw during Sayaka's transformation, soul gems are just a different form of a grief seed. When a soul gem shatters, there's a grief seed inside of it. So, magical girls and witches are essentially one and the same, but at different stages of development. A magical girl is like that larva, and the witch is the final form, is the butterfly or the moth or whatever you wanna compare it to. We still don't know what the deal is exactly, though. We know that it happens. We know that magical girls get turned into witches, but we don't know how it happens. We also don't know one more thing, and that is the interaction with like familiars, right? Which familiars can be turned into witches, but aren't witches born of magical girls? Familiars don't have grief seeds, but in the process of growing into a witch, they acquire one? How does that work exactly? We don't know that yet. And of course, we don't know the purpose of the soul charade. Why, why why have magical girls and why have witches? If there weren't any magical girls, there would be no witches. If there were no witches, there would be no purpose for the existence of magical girls. So take just one part out of the equation and the other ceases to exist. So if one and one creates another, so it's an endless cycle of both fighting and birthing each other, almost like an Ouroboros. But it seems so far to be very zero sum, right? A magical girl kills a witch and then becomes a witch, and someone else gets turned into a magical girl. We started with one magical girl and one witch. We end with one magical girl and one witch. So there has to be something else, some side product of this whole cycle of magical girls and witches that Kyuubey is after, perhaps? I don't know, is it the grief of people affected by witches? Is it, I don't know, mature grief seeds? Is it a delicacy for Kyuubey or something? He just really fucking likes the taste of matured grief seeds? I don't know. It could be honestly anything. And now there's also Walpurgisnacht, which means a lot of witches. And how significant that is. Is it also going to bring a lot of magical girls? Or are the Homura, Kyoko, Sayaka is out of the question. So Homura and Kyoko, are they going to have to face against the entirety of Walpurgisnacht? How does that work? We don't know. Yet another thing we have no idea about. And of course, one other very significant thing that we could glean from the previous episode is a firm confirmation that yes, Homura is a time traveler or a timeline hopper or whatever. In any case, some timey-wimey shenanigans are happening there. And this Homura is not originally from this timeline. She's from some other one. Madoka, for a moment, even got that weird feeling that they might have seen each other. Someone pointed out in the comments that might have to do with the dream Madoka had in the first episode, where she saw Homura, and that was a glimpse into some different timeline. So that begs the question: how did she get a glimpse into that different timeline in a dream? I don't know. Uh, we are getting a lot of answers, but we're getting even more questions. And we are at episode 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I don't think there's 13 episodes of it. We have like 4 episodes to wrap it up, and I have no clue how are we gonna wrap it up. I mean, I have a clue. I have a clue. It's going to be thanks to Madoka. We know that Madoka is extremely powerful, and if she wished for that, she could become an omnipotent god. Literally, from what Kyuubey says, and Kyuubey has no reason to lie. Uh, Madoka could technically just fix it all. And I mean all. She could delete witches from existence. She could give magical girls their souls back. Hell, she could resurrect Mami. She could turn Sayaka witch back into Sayaka girl. She could do anything, as far as we are concerned. I still don't entirely believe Kyuubey, but again, I see no reason for him to lie in this case. Kyuubey isn't a liar. He omits the truth, he skews the truth, but he doesn't speak outright lies. So yeah, I have a feeling that in the last episode, probably in the last episode, Madoka is going to take him up on the offer. She's going to fix it all with her wish. Perhaps we're going to witness Kyoko dying in the meanwhile. Perhaps we're going to witness Homura dying in the meanwhile. And it's going to be down to Madoka to make a wish, make everything right, and defeat the last boss. That might be a huge witch, or the last boss might be Kyuubey himself, perhaps taken an alternate form, perhaps just Kyuubey. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Hell, it's equally as plausible as everything going to shit, and then Homura and Madoka hopping to a different timeline in like the penultimate episode, and fixing that and fixing everything that way. I don't know. We know that Homura's powers have some effect on people she's in contact with. Because when Kyoko was holding her down, she didn't want to teleport for some reason. Well, teleport. She didn't want to freeze time for some reason. And also, Homura uses guns and grenades, and I find it amazing. I find it awesome. There was a Madoka Magica collab in Artery Gear, gacha game, Artery Gear, and Homura had a gun there, and I was wondering why the fuck does she have a gun, but then again, it's a sci-fi game, and everybody uses guns there, so, I mean, it wasn't out of place to give a collab unit a weapon suitable for the world of the game. But no, she just uses guns, straight up. There's no magic there, there's no wand, there's no pipiru. There's just blasting Kyuubey into shreds with a Glock and blowing blowing Kyoko up with a grenade. That's Homura. And we also got a confirmation that yes, indeed, all she cares about is Madoka. She doesn't give a fuck about Kyoko. She only gives a fuck about Kyoko because if Kyoko gets bad, then Madoka will be sad, and Homura would rather Madoka not be sad. And we also, another thing we got in the previous episode, we got Homura to show her emotions, which was interesting, because she doesn't do that pretty much ever, and this was the first time. The previous episode was incredibly dense in detail and in information, and I can't help but wonder what are we going to see in today's. Well, we're gonna see the timer. You're gonna need it to sync up your own copy. Right. One thing of housekeeping, although I guess you don't exactly need to know about that. I found a way to transcode the videos to bake the subtitles in, essentially, so that no matter how much I go back and forth in the timeline, the subtitles will show when they need to be shown. So that's going to be great. That's going to make my reaction to Madoka so much easier. I don't know, I might be losing a little bit on, like, I don't know, visual fidelity or something. Although the source files that I got from the Magika release were 10-bit color, 1080p, 24 FPS, and I re-encoded them as 10-bit color, 1080p, 24 FPS as well. So there should be no difference theoretically, but I mean, not like you are watching the same thing I'm watching, so shouldn't be an issue. Um, yeah, subs, sound, support the channel if you want Patreon Throne. On Patreon, you can get early access to Madoka, to Symphogear, and to other non-seasonals coming sometime in the future. And if you don't want to spend any money, share my content, spread the word. Over 5% of the traffic to my channel comes from Reddit, so spreading the word does really help the channel. You can see the rest of the statistics on the livestream VOD that I held yesterday. And with that, we can start watching episode 9 of Puella Magi Madoka Magica in 3, 2, 1, go. Right, one more little detail. Magical girls, Mahou Shoujo, Mahou comes from witch, young witches. That's a valid translation. Is that Sayaka? Okay, she hasn't transformed yet. Instead, there seems to be a witch waiting on her. So it's not Sayaka's world. It's not... Oh. It's just the body. It is Sayaka. This is just a lifeless body. Soul gem is what matters. The soul gem probably turned into a witch and just discarded Sayaka's lifeless body. Zawardo! Okay, so we got immediate confirmation of how it works. Yeah, that's Sayaka. Whomst? Oh, Kyoko. I saw vaguely pink boots and my first thought was Madoka, but no. No, we are going to keep her transformation for the final episode. Calling it now. Hmm. Homura usually was very ruthless, right? I would expect Homura to just freeze time, defeat the witch, Sayaka or not, and just bail. But it seems like she is trying to save Sayaka. There's no way to save her, far as we are concerned, but Homura didn't kill the witch and didn't tell Kyoko immediately to drop the body. She's bitching about it, sure, but she does allow Kyoko to take Sayaka's lifeless body with them. That's a lot of moths. Industrial. Extremely so. Who's she walking with? Or who are... Is that... Okay. Kyoko and Homura. Being dead. It's a witch. Yeah. That's what happens to magical girls. Yeah. I mean, inescapable. Technically, you can escape that fact by killing witches, gathering grief seeds, and clearing up your gem, but I understand what she's saying here. I mean, yeah, that's what she wanted, but there were so many things beating her down. No, the reason she became a magical girl was to save Kyosuke. Yeah? The fact that she was able to be a magical girl and save some other... some people through that wasn't necessarily why she wanted to become a magical girl. It was just a byproduct. Side effect, really. I mean, sure, but what can you do? I'm guessing Homura has experience with disposing of bodies. And she's not incorrect here. That was a lot of flair to that turn. She didn't need to be so extra, but she chose to. I mean, that's just Homura, really. She's probably been through those situations, so... Oh, fuck off, Kyuubey. I mean, on one hand, fuck off, on the other... Kyuubey is literally the only thing that can save the situation. Nothing wrong enough to require correction. I love how he put it. We. More than one Kyuubey? Entropy, yeah. True. Heat death of universe and all that. Aliens, okay. That's clear as day. And humans are the most emotional, is that it? Why the chairs? Okay, so emotions go directly in the face of entropy. Hormonal, yeah. Is when that energy is released. Incubator. Essentially, yeah. Exactly. Well, perhaps they just fucking shouldn't. I mean, shit, he isn't wrong. That's the thing with Kyuubey. Everything he says makes perfect sense. They do. Yeah. You have a choice to deny. Instead of towards themselves for not asking enough questions. Because every human life is precious. But Kyuubey doesn't understand that. Again, he makes sense. He's going out of his way to explain things. Even though he usually doesn't. Okay. If you ever feel like dying, hey, just give me a dollar. Ah, Jesus fuck. So we know the reason, we know the byproduct of the cycle. Not that I know of, but perhaps a way I do not know. Yeah. But technically, it's not impossible. Oh, she wants something. That's cool. A little moment of happiness. Um, Funny you mention her. That's not a bad question, but Madoka is just going through her paces. When people are very ingrained in some routine, then following that routine can help them bring normalcy to their life. So I fully understand why Madoka is going through her usual paces. A semblance of normalcy. Make a wish. Kyoko really got attached to Sayaka, didn't she? That's a trope, sure. It's enough of a trope to work, but also enough of a trope to be subverted. Sayaka's gonna be inside, yeah. Probably not, but hey, a possibility is there. Maybe grab Homura as well, just to be safe. Time freeze. Okay, Kyoko has really come along. She's been so extremely antisocial all this time, and now she's come along. Yeah, no need for that. Okay, so Homura knows something. How? How does she sense it? Because she's been through it? Now, if anything, Homura is your friend, Madoka. Yeah, and we still don't exactly know the significance of that. Can't you bring magical girls from, like, other prefectures? Or neighboring cities, at least? That's where Sayaka is. I love how the dango, or whatever it is she has, pretty much creates like a progress bar of how close we are to the showdown. And showdown. All the dango are gone. Love me do. I mean, yeah, not the first time Madoka is facing against a witch in her mortal, fragile human form. I thought for a moment that's gonna be a cliffhanger moment, but no, we still have like 5 minutes to go. Yeah, I wouldn't call it cowardice. Self-preservation. True. On the other hand, what if it's not a whim? Okay, those are scenes from like previous episodes. So there is some semblance of Sayaka still left. Of course, strings. A concert hall. You can immediately see what has the most significance to her and what is the basis of her power. Okay, there was some reaction. Attacking with wheels. Yeah, there is some reaction, but it's very vague, and we can't even be sure if it's a reaction to them calling out. Okay, Homura. If there was a time for you to appear, it would be now. Okay, the both of them swirling around. That's a cool visual. And Homura Ex Machina. Or perhaps not. Perhaps my expectation is going to be completely subverted yet again. A blue stage. Hello, Kyosuke. And hello, Homura. Is Kyoko going to die now? That's the symbol of the church. And a lot of spears. Unlimited spear works. No, just one big spear. Why are you throwing your soul gem though? You gonna crack it and turn yourself into a witch? Or, okay, she cracked it to cause an explosion. Essentially a suicide bombing. Yeah, everybody's dying. Technically. Forcing Madoka to become a magical girl. Yeah, that was the plan all along. Kill everybody so that Madoka has no choice. Huh. Hmm. That's a unique ending. It's kind of odd how they are creating this sort of partnership between Kyoko and Sayaka kind of out of nowhere. Not entirely. I'm gonna talk about it more in depth later. But this late. And in such a short amount of time. Oh, that's a cool illustration. I will never depend on anyone again. Homura taking it upon herself to fight the Walpurgisnacht alone, dying in the process, and Madoka has to fight in the Walpurgisnacht anyway. Or she has to transform in the first place for some other reason. Interesting. That was an interesting episode. But my feelings towards it are just a little bit ambivalent. Okay, let's go through it again, shall we? Yes, we shall. Where should I put my coffee? Whatever. Here, will do. Octava von Sekendorf. Siekendorf? Yeah, we got even more confirmation that yes, Homura can stop and start time at will. Girls can't love girls. It's forbidden love. Yeah, Sayaka is dead. Well, her body was dead all this time, but now her soul gem was destroyed. Well, destroyed, turned into a grief seed. She just wanted to fight for what was right. How could that be? Sayaka-chan just wanted to save people from the witches. She just wanted to fight for what was right. Here's the thing. That's not entirely true. That wasn't her motivation. Her motivation, first and foremost, was to help Kyosuke. That was it. The fact that she was granted the power to save people as a side effect, well, that's just a side effect. That's just a bonus. And that came around to bite her in the ass, essentially. Because it was said that if you make a wish for someone else, a world of pain is ahead of you. And it was true for Sayaka. It was true for Kyoko. She just ended up bearing a curse of equal magnitude to her wish. Kinda sorta. Who the hell do you think you are? Sayaka-chan was her. Can you even call yourself a human? No. No, I can't. Homura knows it. And Homura is maybe not entirely at peace with that, but she just got over that fact. No, I'm not human. Straight up. I don't need to be human. Maybe not necessarily I don't need to be human, but I'm not a human and I cannot change that fact. So, what's the big deal? It's just a fact about me. Add to that the fact that she's been through it over and over and over again, however many times, and you get a very, maybe not resigned demeanor, resigned attitude, but a very matter-of-factly one, where she just accepts all of that. She accepts that she's no longer a human, and thus accepts any inhuman actions that she must take. essentially dehumanizes it herself, all for the sake of saving Madoka, it seems. If throwing the lifeless body of her friend at Madoka's face is going to stop Madoka from becoming Mahou Shoujo, Homura is gonna do that. If doing whatever other atrocities is going to stop Madoka, Homura is going to do that. And the justification, explanation in her mind is that I'm not a human. I'm not bound by human ethics. I'm not bound by human limitations. So I can do all of that without feeling like I'm losing my humanity because I have already lost it all. Interesting. And we got a lot of explanations here. Yeah, we don't do anything of it out of ill will towards mankind. Everything we've done has been to extend the lifespan of the universe. Because of entropy. When energy changes form, some of it gets lost. In the case of the bonfire, some of the energy lost in the process gets trapped in like molecules of carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, for example. The energy of the binding between between atoms of carbon and atoms of oxygen stores some of that energy. So it's not that energy gets lost, it's that it changes form. The laws of thermodynamics. Is it the law of thermodynamics or is it some other? It essentially says that energy cannot be created or destroyed. Entropy says that it can be taken out of the system, essentially. The system being the universe, so makes sense, I guess. I'm not a theoretical astrophysicist, so I don't know all of that exactly. I'm gonna have to take it mostly at face value. We searched for a form of energy not bound by the laws of thermodynamics. In other words, energy that can be created but not destroyed. Or rather, energy that can be created out of nothing. Just added to the system, not transformed from another form of energy, not matter turned into energy, but energy that just gets created. Energy generated by magical girls. Yeah, we have the technology to turn emotions into energy, but we ourselves do not possess emotions. So they had to find a race of beings that experiences emotions. Humans. Moody, hormonal teenage girls. Because they experience the most emotions, right? First, friendships, first love, heartbreak, fear, all of those are common and amplified. I like this explanation of why it has to be young girls and why a 40-year-old man cannot become a magical man, I guess, because no longer a magical girl. Makes sense. As incubators, it is our job to collect that energy. Yeah, the moment when your soul gems flare out and turn into grave seeds is when the most energy gets released, and we collect that energy and we, I don't know, release it into the universe so as to stop the progress of entropy. So we now know the side product of the process, or rather, the main product. The cycle of magical girls the step of magical girls being turned into witches creates energy, and then more magical girls need to be born to fight those witches, which creates more magical girls. And then they get turned into witches, and the cycle repeats. and the energy flare out during the process of turning from a magical girl into a witch is what creates the energy that incubators collect. Do you have any idea how many civilizations coexist across the universe? Yeah, eventually even you will leave and join us at a galactic council or whatever. And in the long run, this arrangement does benefit mankind as well. Again, everything that Kyuubey says makes perfect sense. We need to stop entropy. We need to stop the heat death of universe. The best way to do that is killing, like, I don't know, 10 humans a month. Not a huge price to pay, really, when you think about it. So it makes sense when you just look at it from the perspective of numbers and of the actual events that are being prevented. But not when you look at it from the perspective of those humans concerned and their loved ones. Because when each of us, maybe not each of us, but many people, if they were told that, hey, we can, I don't know, kill 10 random people in the entire world, and that will somehow magically end world hunger and disease. Diseases no longer exist, everybody's always well fed. And the price is just 10 human lives. People would probably agree to that. But when the price is 10 people from your group of friends and family, the perspective is no longer so great. There's an element of immorality to it, but morality is relative. As long as it's someone else that's dying who I don't know, that's fine by me. But when it concerns me, well, we're gonna have a problem there. And in this case, it concerns Sayaka, it concerns Kyoko, Homura, Madoka. You do it by deceiving us. But yeah, we do not deceive. The act is incomprehensible to us. I answer the questions truthfully. The onus of asking questions is on you. If you want to know all of the details of the arrangement, well, ask questions and I will answer. The fact that you agree to it willy-nilly, well, that's on you. There is sense in it, but usually when you make any sort of arrangements or sign up a contract or whatever, you can read all of the terms beforehand. In this case, that's not the case. So there is a little bit of tomfoolery going on here, but all in all, makes sense. We have a pretty hard time understanding your value system. Yeah, your value system. Why do you make such a fuss over the life or death of few people? Exactly as I said, right? What is 10 people to prevent the heat death of universe, right? Well, it's a lot, because first of all, they are someone's loved ones like Sayaka and Madoka. Second of all, there is also the issue with instant gratitude versus delayed gratitude. Heat death of the universe is like millions, billions of years away, and the people are dying now. So we're taking a hit now for a benefit in the future, benefit that we ourselves might not even live to see. It's very common in politics. Like, I don't want to get super political here, but it's an issue all around the world where 70-year-old, almost mummified politicians who are going to be dead in 20 years create policies that will benefit them now, but are going to fuck the world up in 20 years. They're building themselves golden coffins and don't concern themselves with what's going to happen after they die. And it's also it's also a big issue when it comes to tackling climate change, for example, right? One of the ways of tackling that is, for example, telling people, I don't know, banning traffic of cars in city centers. You can only go there by foot or by bike or an e-bike or a scooter or something like that, but no cars, no combustion engines. And that might help the world in the long term. It might make air in the city less polluted. It might lessen the greenhouse effect, sure, but I need to go to the store and I need to buy a lot of things. Do you expect me to do it by bike? No, I need my car, right? People think of the now. People live in the present. They don't look at what's going to happen in the 10, 20, 30, 40 years. Some people do, but the great majority doesn't. All they are concerned with is that they can buy a new truck, not with that in 40 years this planet will become uninhabitable, right? And that's kind of the issue that Kyuubey is talking about. You are concerning yourself with living happy now, but in 50 billion years you won't be able to live because the universe will cease to exist if we don't do something about it. The time scale is bigger and the stakes are much higher, but ultimately it's the same principle. So again, in principle, Kyuubey makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. He makes a great argument. And also this, despite us not having understanding of humans, despite not even seeing how we need to explain things to you because it's on you to ask questions. Yeah, I came here to try to explain our actions to you. It's a gesture of goodwill. I don't necessarily understand how that works, but I heard that people do that. So here I am, talking about things without being prompted. It really is a big step for Kyuubey. It really is a huge gesture of goodwill. But all in all, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter for Madoka, it doesn't matter for anybody else. Because the logic is here, sure, but their grief, their heart, their emotions are speaking of completely different things. Also makes me wonder how Kyuubey said we as a collective. Was the Kyuubey that came after Homura killed the one, was it a different body of that Kyuubey, or was it simply another member of the race? Another Kyuubey. Another specimen. Huh. Someday you will become the greatest of all magical girls. And you will be turned into a great witch. And when that happens, we will gain an unprecedented amount of energy. Perhaps enough to stop the heat death of universe, to give us 20 billion years of time more. Maybe. For 20 billion years, we won't have to kill another human. We will remove the witches. We will not turn anybody else into a magical girl. Is it a price you are willing to pay? If you ever feel like dying for the sake of the universe, just let me know. I love this line. It's so casual. So incredibly casual. It's not even when you feel like becoming a magical girl, give me a call. No. When you feel like dying for the sake of universe, give me a call. Let me know. I'll be waiting. We know that Madoka's wish can even change the laws of the universe. What if Madoka's wish could change entropy? Right? What if she could become all-powerful, actually, and have an all-powerful wish? And with that wish, revive Mami, revive Kyoko, revive Homura, because I have a sneaking suspicion she is also going to die. Delete all witches, and make it so that entropy is not a thing. So that the hit of universe will never occur. Or make it so that emotions don't need to be processed to create that energy, right? That could be a possibility. So that there don't need to be any big bursts of energy, of emotional energy that delay the heat death of the universe, but rather tiny little bits, tiny little slivers, right? Oh, someone is happy because they found $5 on the ground. That's emotion of happiness, energy generated, off it goes into the universe, delaying the heat death, combating entropy. Someone lost their loved one, they are grieving, that creates energy, that delays heat death. Someone's, I don't know, son was born, that creates strong emotions, that creates energy, that combats entropy directly without the need of being accumulated and bursted during the process of turning from a magical girl into a witch. Because if Madoka can truly change the laws of the universe, then she can change all of them. Any and all of them. Why are you so obsessed with keeping that body fresh? That's also a question I'm having myself, honestly. Why is Kyoko suddenly so... Why is Sayaka suddenly so important to Kyoko? I know that Kyoko kind of connected with her over the whole thing with making a wish for someone else and suffering for it. But that's essentially all of the connection they have. So Kyoko being really... suddenly being really helpful and really friendly and going out of her way in every possible way seems a very abrupt and odd change to me. That's why I said I have kind of ambivalent feelings towards this episode. I wouldn't be surprised no matter what implausible feats you manage to accomplish. Pocky, potato chips. Yeah, is there any way to get her soul gem back? Possibly. It's not out of the question. And again, despite Kyuubey saying that, oh no, no way she would be able to achieve that later to Homura, I don't think he's lying. And he's not lying. He's not saying, yeah, you might be able to accomplish it. I don't think he is. He only ever gives very vague answers, right? I wouldn't be surprised no matter what implausible feats you manage to accomplish. So, I don't know if you would be able, but if you were, it wouldn't surprise me. I have no way advising you on the matter, so I'm not gonna say yes or no. You're saying anything is possible? No, no one has ever done it before. I don't know how you'd go about it. No confirmation. I have no way of advising you on the matter. And yeah, I wouldn't need your advice anyway. That's a lot of food. Yakisoba, melon pan, KFC. Sayaka is absent, of course she is. Yeah, we can save her. Maybe, probably. I don't want to give up until we know for sure that she can't be saved. I am left wondering why that change in Kyoko. Why is she trying so desperately to save Sayaka? If you call out to her, she might regain her memories from when she was human. That's a common trope. Unfortunately, subverted. Or rather than subverted, just not used. Not followed. Maybe if we slice it in half, there's gonna be a soul gem inside. We don't know that. Sayaka reminded me again of... Yeah, I became a magical girl in the first place because I loved stories like that. Stories of heroes, of saving, of justice always winning. And that was very Sayaka. She very much was like, justice shall prevail and whatnot. Yeah, meeting properly. And Homura has a feeling. She got a ding, something notified her. Her smartwatch went off. I don't know why, I don't know how she gets those notifications. Maybe it's the power of her soul gem that allows her to detect witches, but it allows her to detect witches, not detect where Madoka is going. Um, I love the detail of the dango, as I mentioned. It essentially creates a progress bar. Yeah, the Walpurgisnacht is the motherlode of all witches. And I need Homura's help. Neither of us alone will be able to do that, but the two of us might be able. And Madoka now knows about it. And that's why Kyoko had to go. So that Madoka knows that a singular magical girl won't be able to stop Walpurgisnacht. You need at least two. And if there is no other, well, guess there's a lot of pressure on her. If there wasn't enough yet. Those are posters for a, I don't know, violin competition or something. There is Kyosuke on stage. Let me see the whole poster again. Yeah, Kyosuke on stage, some statuette in the bottom right. Am I a coward? No, you are not. You just have a sense of self-preservation. And yeah, you have the perfect life. You can eat your fill, you have a loving family, you have friends. And if you give it up, well, don't. Because you know that being a magical girl is just misery. The only people who should put their own lives in danger are those who've got no other choice. She's not entirely wrong here. It's best that people who have no other choice make the tough decisions. And the people who have other choices, who don't need to make those decisions, those sacrifices, don't make them. Not make them. Of course, it's strings. The fact that Sayaka took an image of a knight. That's interesting. Yeah, that's just knight. Those are knighty banners, a sword, a knight, a protector. It stems from her desire to protect humans, to protect Kyosuke, maybe. You want to be a hero. Why is Kyoko so hell-bent on saving Sayaka? I still don't know that. And here, the two of them are swirling in a vortex together. You'd think, seeing this moment, that there was some build-up earlier, that they got a chance to like spend time together and grow close or something, or connect over something, or just build up the relationship so that now it can be all the more tragic and all the more understandable. To go to like a complete extreme, right? Say they we don't need to. I wanted to say a hypothetical that they fell in love with each other, but let's just say they became really good friends. It would make sense that Kyoko would want to save her, right? Perfect sense. This scene, this vortex would bring a tear to my eye because, oh, Kyoko is protecting Sayaka. Maybe earlier, Sayaka was trying desperately to protect Kyoko, to be her knight in shining armor. And Kyoko got all embarrassed about it because, oh, I'm your senpai when it comes to being magical girls, and you saved me. I'm gonna do better as your senpai, or some other interaction like that. And this time in this vortex, we see Kyoko protecting Sayaka, and in her actions, in her fight, also trying to protect her, trying to make her human again, or at least magical girl again. But it doesn't have that effect because they never really. Well, it has some of that effect. But Kyoko and Sayaka never really grew close. They never really had the chance to do that. So, of course, Kyoko getting beaten up is significant and bad and emotional and whatnot. Her trying desperately to save Sayaka is also important. This moment where she decides to raise her weapon against Sayaka, right? You said you believed this power could make people happy, and now you're making them miserable. It is a significant moment, but it would have more significance if their relationship had some time to grow. It didn't. The relationship of Kyoko and Sayaka went from resentment to vague neutrality, at least on Sayaka's part, to nothing much, really. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something, maybe I'm not reading something correctly, but the two of them don't seem like they would have that much of a relationship for this moment, for this fight to really hit. Falling from the red stage into the blue stage, red stage, Kyoko, blue stage, Sayaka, kinda sorta. And here's Kyosuke, just randomly, standing there, menacingly, turning his back to them. Homura ex machina. For a moment, I thought maybe Homura brought Kyosuke here, so that Kyosuke can play, and that can calm Sayaka down, and that can bring back her humanity. But Kyosuke seems to be just something that exists within Sayaka's world. He wasn't brought here from the outside. He's just a construct of this world. And he isn't significant whatsoever. He just stands there, and that's it. Takes no action or anything. Kyoko is beaten down, of course. Take care of her and run. I will stand and fight Sayaka. You should never fight with a burden of Madoka. But wouldn't it make more sense for Kyoko to take care of Madoka and Homura to just freeze time and destroy the witch? That seems to be the simplest solution here. Why is Kyoko sacrificing herself? That's what I don't get. Just focus on the one thing you really want to protect and keep it safe till the end. That's funny. That's what I thought I was doing all this time. What were you protecting, though? The one thing that's super important to you, apparently. Don't tell me it's Sayaka, because I'm not gonna believe you. Humanity? No, Kyoko was the first to release a familiar to go free to kill humans to grow into a witch eventually. This is a very abrupt change in Sayaka. Really. I'll take care of her. Praying, creating a big spear, and throwing away her soul gem that's embedded in the symbol of the church of her father. And off she goes to destroy that soul gem. To create a big blast that blasts away her and the witch. I'm gonna be honest, I don't see a point or a prompt to this sacrifice. I really don't. Again, if the relationship was built more, right? If they had that super great deep friendship, if they became lovers or whatever, then this would be very strong and very poetic and very emotional, right? The moment of if I have to kill you, then I will kill myself at the same time, and we both shall perish, right? That kind of a moment. But as it is, it seems like Kyoko just went, oh, well, I guess I'm not gonna be able to kill her, so I'm just gonna off myself and destroy her at the same time. Instead of running away with Homura. Homura can stop time. We haven't heard anything about any duration limitations. So couldn't Homura just stop time, grab Kyoko, Kyoko grabs Madoka, and they escape? Like they already did once? Why did it have to be that final showdown where Kyoko sacrifices herself? Not even sacrifices herself to save Sayaka, she sacrifices herself to destroy Sayaka. I'm gonna be honest, I don't get that. I don't get it. Why didn't you stop her? Well, because you can't win the Walpurgisnacht alone, and that will force Madoka to become a Mahou Shoujo. But we see the we see the title. We see the title of the next episode. Can we see the title of the next episode? Please. I beg of you. I implore you. Work with me here, player. Yeah, in any case, the title of the next episode is something like I will never let anybody get involved or something like that. Which makes me believe Homura is going to try to stop Walpurgisnacht alone. And she will probably die. Yeah, she will probably die. And Madoka now will have no choice but to make a wish. To fix it all. That's my prediction. That's my prediction, that we are going to hit the absolute lows. The absolute and utter lows. Everybody is dead. Madoka is heavily injured. Then, at the last moment, she turns into a Mahou Shoujo and she fixes everything. Maybe she goes back to a different timeline and prevents all of that from happening. Maybe her wish is create a timeline where entropy isn't a problem, or something along those lines. And she saves that timeline at least. Something along those lines. Kyoko fights Sayaka, Madoka becomes Magika to save her. Well, that didn't come to pass, did it? Uh, okay. Everybody dies. Madoka fixes everything. Underlined everything. She will fix entropy, she will fix magical girls, she will fix witches, she will fix all her dead friends to no longer be dead. That's my prediction, that's my presumption. Because here's the thing with character deaths, right? When you kill one main character, they probably will stay dead. If you kill two of them, they will probably stay dead. When you kill all of them, they will probably be back. Most of the time. The only exception of that I can think of is like Akamega kill, but even then, not everybody died. I know that it went differently between the manga and the anime, but I don't think in either version everybody was dead in the end. So yeah, if there's only Madoka left in this world, then she will probably bring everybody back. I'm kinda also looking at it, basing my speculation that everybody's going to be back on the fact that there are movies coming out, and there's some like spin-off series. Spin-off could be its own thing, right? Magical girls in, I don't know, Canada. Magical girls branch in Canada and their adventures, or whatever. Or Magical Girls 50 years ago, or 50 years in the future, or whatever. Spin-off can be anything, is my point. But the fact that we are getting sequel movies, I think they are sequel movies, makes me think that they are not going to die. Because sure, you could make those movies about Madoka on her own, but that would be kind of boring. Not having any other characters to interact with. You could introduce other characters, brand fresh new magical girls working with Madoka to, I don't know, fight the race of Kyuubeys or whatever, going full trigger show where aliens suddenly. But I don't think that would fly. I don't think people would like getting Madoka and then completely different characters. They grew to love Kyoko, they grew to love Sayaka, they grew to love Mami. So we are suddenly getting, I don't know, Nina and some other randomly named characters. I intended to think of 3 names for those characters, but I just got Nina and gave up. So yeah, 3 other brand new characters wouldn't really work for a sequel. So maybe I'm high on hopium, but I don't think they will remain dead. Okay. Ooh. This was an interesting episode. Very short feeling because not all that much happened. The escape from Sayaka's world, and then an attempt to save Sayaka, and those were essentially the 2 main events of this episode. The significant thing happened is the one significant thing that happened is the explanation of what Kyuubey is getting out of the whole cycle. What's the goal there? What's the purpose? It's not just to make mankind suffer. No, there is an actual higher goal there. And like a proper higher goal, the survival of the entire universe, the existence of the whole universe is at stake here. Those are some pretty damn high stakes, aren't they? So that makes sense. Perfect sense. And that was the last missing bit of information here. Last missing bit that we wanted, that we needed. And now we know everything we need to know. All that is left is to see where it goes. And my prediction is that next episode, Homura dies. The penultimate episode, Madoka turns into Meguka. And the finale, I don't know, everybody comes back to life and all of them fight the big witch that comes with all of the witches from Walpurgisnacht merging into one, or whatever. We need to have a big boss battle at the end of the season. That's the rule of anime, so I fully expect that. Cool episode. Cool episode in everything but Kyoko's characterization. It really feels like she changed way too fast. Like, even in this screen, right? In this ending screen, you can see Kyoko and Sayaka, Kyoko like looking at Sayaka very fondly and smiling, as if they had some very deep connection, very deep friendship, and Kyoko felt the need to save Sayaka. I mean, she kinda does. During the scene in the church, she does try to save Sayaka in her own misguided way, but ultimately, I don't see any relationship that would have formed between them. So Kyoko being so hell-bent on trying to save her seems kind of out of place, honestly. It didn't bother me all that much, mind you. It wasn't a super big deterrent, but I kinda wish we got maybe an episode more spent with before the whole downfall of Sayaka starts, an episode spent on just Kyoko and Sayaka fighting witches. Right? Just a very plain, simple episode of Kyoko and Sayaka getting to know each other fighting witches together. Or something to build up their relationship. But besides that, cool. Cool episode. Any of the shortcomings, like the relationship I mentioned, are not significant enough to make me care particularly much, but they are significant enough to be worthy of mention. Again, maybe I misread something, maybe I didn't understand something entirely, and if so, explain it to me please in the comments. As long as you don't spoil me anything, that's perfectly fine by me. And yeah, I think that's gonna be it. So speaking of comments, leave them down below there. What did you think of this episode, my reaction, my theories? No spoilers, yet again, please don't spoil me. There's a Discord server here. Also in the description, you can join it. There's a Madoka channel there. You can post spoilers to your heart's content in that channel because you can use spoiler tags. Like this video if you liked it. Dislike it if you disliked it, but tell me why so I can improve. Subscribe to the channel to be notified of future releases of not only Madoka but also Symphogear and other mysterious shows. If you want to know what I'm going to be watching this season, check out the live stream VOD I streamed yesterday. The VOD should already be up, and if you're watching it on YouTube, not on Patreon, then some of those videos will already be up, so you will already know what I'm watching currently. So subscribe, click the bell to be notified of those videos and of my live streams, because I do stream every now and again. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon or Throne, links in the description. On Patreon for $10 a month to get early access to Madoka, to Symphogear, to other non-seasonals in the future. For just $1 you get a role on the Discord and a place in the credits. On Throne you can pitch in directly towards my purchase of better lighting, better camera, stuff like that. And if you don't want to spend any money but still want to support the channel, sharing my content, spreading the word is a really great way to help the channel. During the live stream I mentioned, I took a look at my channel statistics, and over 5% traffic comes from Reddit. I think like 1 and 2/10% of traffic comes from WhatsApp. So you are sharing my content, and those people come here and they stay very often. I have a pretty nice conversion rate between newcomers and subscribers, so that's cool. It genuinely helps, as you can see empirically. So, with all of that out of the way, I think we're gonna end it here. That's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, You guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's the credits I mentioned. You can become a Patreon, and you don't even need to give up your humanity.